The man in charge of the action will be referee Richard Steele. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the Rio Suites Hotel and Casino of Las Vegas, Nevada, let's get ready to rumble! Rounds of boxing for the USBA Championship in the light heavyweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing black, trimmed in gold, and weighing in at 175 pounds, he brings a record of 45 wins against only 2 defeats, with 2 draws, 30 KOs out of 45 victories. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the challenger from Ann Arbor, Michigan, the former middleweight, former super middleweight champion of the world, James Lights Out Toney. And his opponent across the ring, wearing the white trunks trimmed in red and blue, also weighing in at 175 pounds. Making his first defense of his title with a professional record of 29 victories against 6 defeats, with 1 draw, 21 of those 29 victories by KO, from the Motor City, Detroit, Michigan, presenting the USBA light heavyweight champion, Anthony Hollywood Hembrick.
All right, I spoke to both fighters in the dressing room. Caution again. Obey my commands at all times. Shake hands. Good luck.
So we are ready for action now for the USBA Light Heavyweight Championship, and while there is a title at stake, the interest clearly is on James Toney. Has he come back? Has he improved his work habits? Does he have an opportunity to win another legitimate championship at the world level? 45 victories, 2 defeats, 2 draws, 30 knockouts along the way. Anthony Hembrick, 29, 6-1 with 21 KOs. Hembrick in white and Toney in black.
We had mentioned that Hembrick has a very, very sharp left jab, but James Toney is no slouch when it comes to that jab either. Very, very good jab. I remember in the Prince Charles Williams fight, Williams' best punch is the jab, and Toney was able to out-jab him.
Toney trying to crouch down, got himself off balance and nearly got knocked down.
Don't hold him. Don't hold him.
James Toney, a list of victories are much more impressive than Hembrick's. Murky Sosa, Michael Nunn, Reggie Johnson, Mike McCallum, Iran Barkley, Tony Thornton, Prince Charles Williams, and for Hembrick, really his only significant win over Leslie Stewart, who at that point was on the downside of his career. Tony's only losses to Roy Jones, and then when he moved up to light heavyweight, a shocking defeat at the hands of Montel Griffin, who was very prepared and very confident against the dissipated Toney, and did the job and earned his win. Low blow from Hembrick, and gets a warning from Richard Steele. 110 degrees at ringside. Stamina and proper training could very well be a factor in this fight if it goes any distance at all. Something we'll be watching. Overhand right by Hembrick, landing, grazing the chin of Toney.
Hembrick is being a lot more aggressive in this first round than I ever remember seeing him. Usually depends on that lateral movement, but he's actually stalking James Toney right now. That could be a mistake.
Under a minute to go in round 1. Hembrick has been circling and firing in and out. He feels his best strategy against the good counterpunching of Toney, and something that he failed to do on the 6th round knockout he suffered at Toney's hands last January, a year ago January.
Don't hold him. Don't hold him.
Into the 30-second mark we go on round number 1. Scheduled for 12 for the USBA crown.
Toney has been using body movement a lot more than footwork to avoid punishment. And every once in a while he gets a little awkward and trips.
10 seconds. 10 seconds.
Approaching the end of round number 1. This 12-rounder from Las Vegas, Nevada, live on the CBS Sports Show.
He has provided some of the most memorable and exciting moments in sports history.
We are back for round number 2, scheduled for 12 from the Rio Hotel in Las Vegas. Anthony Hembrick, the champion in white. James Toney, the challenger in black. USBA light heavyweight title at 175 at stake. Tim Ryan with Gil Clancy. Pat O'Brien here in Las Vegas.
And Tim, we had mentioned that James Toney had a very, very good left jab. In his corner, Eddie Mustafa Muhammad said he's supposed to have a good jab. I want you to establish your jab. And if he can out-jab a jabber, it should make an easy fight for him.
Eddie Mustafa Muhammad taking over the training duties. The long tenure of Bill Miller in James Toney's corner, and he offloaded Miller just in the last couple of weeks. Eddie Mustafa, known as Eddie Gregory early in his fight career, was light heavyweight champion of the world. And there's a good solid left hand from Toney that backed up Hembrick. Anthony Hembrick, a member of the U.S. Olympic team, the 1988 squad, and unfortunately for him, best remembered as the man who missed the bus and therefore lost his fight. There's a no-shot, a left hand.
It wasn't a hard punch, Tim. He was just at his feet even. He was a little bit off balance.
Hembrick looks all right.
No, he's fine. He really did not get hurt with that punch, but it may encourage Toney to go after him. He got nailed with that one, though, Tim. That was a good, solid left hook by James Toney.
Under a minute to go in the second round. Toney has scored a knockdown. It did not appear to be, as Gil pointed out, a damaging knockdown, but points-wise it will be, unless Hembrick should rally considerably here in the final minute. The judges are Tom McDonough from Tacoma, Jerry Roth and Dalby Shirley from Las Vegas.
You can see that body movement of James Toney to avoid punches. That sets him up beautifully for his counters. There's another one. Good solid counter punch by Toney.
Toney looks very relaxed here in the second round.
Well, Tim, coming into this fight at the weigh-in yesterday, he looked like the happiest James Toney I've seen in a long, long time.
Final seconds of round number 2. Toney clubs a left hand to the face of Hembrick. So Anthony Hembrick taking a little punishment, a knockdown, and then as Gil pointed out, the tougher punch that immediately followed is getting to his feet. Let's go back and look at the knockdown. Gil, it does appear that he's a little off balance there. Looked like he was backing up and then got that left hand.
He was backing up and he had pulled his left foot back. His feet were even, had nothing behind him.
Now this is the following series, and this was the more significant blow from Toney after Hembrick got to his feet.
Yes, that was a solid, solid left hook. That should have been the one that knocked him down.
He just did come back
A good round. James Toney.
Keep coming back with the hook. Right? Keep coming back with the hook. Give him take him to him, say, you the boss man. You the boss. Come back with the hook.
His manager, Jackie Callan, working in the corner, brought an umbrella for the Sun here in Las Vegas. Good thinking on her part. And in the corner of Anthony Hembrick, no such shade. His trainer, Al Smith, his manager, Arnie Rosenthal.
Hembrick is fighting like he's trying to apologize. He had Toney wide open that time to shoot a right hand, but he did not throw the punch. That's the fight with a little more ambition, Anthony Hembrick.
Well, speaking of ambition and talking to him before the fight, the last couple of days, he's talking about retiring at the end of this year. You have to wonder about his focus for a big fight like this on national television against the likes of Toney, but He's a very intelligent young man and decided that at his age, 29, that one more year will be enough in the pro ranks for him.
Tim, that's not a very good attitude, though, to go into a fight against the James Toney.
I agree.
This is the fight of his life. Not a good left hook by Toney. What's happening? Hembrick is not able to score with that left jab. Toney is able to counter it. He's not throwing a stiff left jab at all, Hembrick. Just shooting it out there.
We saw some of that in his last fight when he won this title from Rudy Nix. The jab was effective for him, but there wasn't much sting on it. Eventually, he cut Nix.
You can see Toney is flat-footed. He's looking to load up, and Hembrick is just flicking that left jab out there.
In the third round, Toney hasn't been bothered by the jab at all through the first three.
Hembrick has to hit Toney with a couple of solid punches to get his respect. Otherwise, Toney's going to walk right through him.
Right hand from Toney, a good one. That rocked Hembrick and backs him up. Chopping right from Toney, grazing the chin that time of Hembrick.
Toney is able to take liberties because Hembrick is doing nothing to make him respect him at all.
Good concentration on the part of James Toney. Eye on the target at all times and very relaxed looking. Under 30 seconds to go in the third. Short with a wild right hand, left hook back. Got a piece of Hembrick as he was pulling away.
Again, Tim, Hembrick is trying to jab and get out of the way at the same time, and he can't do that.
Coming to the end of round number 3 of the scheduled 12-rounder, live from Las Vegas.
Some people can't afford to worry about the fuel in the...
James Toney, Anthony Hembrick. For the USBA light heavyweight crown, Toney in black, Hembrick in white. This is round number 4.
And Eddie Mustafa's instructions were very clear. Set him up and take him out. Sounded pretty simple.
Toney's been in 13 world title fights. Hembrick only 2. Lost in the WBO title try to Leonzer Barber, and then lost to Henry Motzke, the outstanding German light heavyweight champion of the IBF. Going 12, but losing a decision to Motzke.
Tim, despite putting on that 15 pounds from the weigh-in yesterday until today's fight, Toney looks pretty sharp to me, pretty alert, good defense, slipping punches, and countering very, very well. There's that good snapping jab of Toney's again.
How do you put on 15 pounds in less than 24 hours, Gil?
Well, what happens, Tim? He was dried out to the bone. He probably dried out for 48 hours. Didn't have any liquid in him at all. So anytime any liquid he puts in after the weigh, it just stays in his weight. And I never like to do that with a fighter. Should make him sluggish. But Toney does not look sluggish to me today. That was the first time that Hembrick threw a punch with bad intentions, but it missed.
He threw the right hand down the pipe, and Toney saw it coming. He comes back with a solid right hand.
And he hurt Hembrick with that right hand.
Step back. Let him go. Let him go, Hembrick.
Hembrick got a left hand in, kind of a half a hook, half a jab, and
Come on.
knocked the knockdown, although it was a good punch from Toney. Toney looking to counter in the corner. He's always been a very good inside fighter, James Toney, with those good short punches.
He's a good all-around fighter, Tim. He's good on the outside, as he showed with Prince Charles. Good strong puncher. In shape and under the proper discipline, he has it all. Again, Hembrick is not trying to counter. Toney's able to take free shot after free shot. Even when he misses, Hembrick doesn't counter.
Hit Hembrick's been more in a backup mode here in the 4th round, as though he's looking to counter. The first couple of rounds, he at least was, as he was circling, he was coming in and out. It's apparent that Toney has gained plenty of respect here as we head to the end of round 4.
They test car batteries here. They test pickup trucks here. And when they test yard machines, they go...
This is round number 5 of a scheduled 12-round USBA light heavyweight battle, and Hembrick comes out firing here in the opening seconds. Toney just covering up.
And Hembrick's talking to Toney now. He's saying to him, come on. Maybe somebody woke him up in the corner.
Right.
He is the champion, Hembrick, even though the audience here, and I'm sure looking in on television, views Toney as not only the favorite here, but as the more distinguished of the two based on his 2 world championship battles. A troubled young man in terms of his own self-discipline and his relationships with the people around him. Fired his longtime trainer, Bill Miller, replaced him with Eddie Mustafa Muhammad. And continuing discussion that maybe he's going to offload the champion's manager, his manager Jackie Callan, at the end of her contract.
I said in his interview that you did, it didn't sound to me as if he was going to unload Jackie Callan. But you never know.
Never know.
Don't hold him, don't hold him.
You can see the respect that Hembrick has for Toney.
A little too much on my informal scorecard here. I haven't given Hembrick a round. There's a good combination. Left and right both landed from Toney. He's definitely got Hembrick in reverse gear here these last couple of rounds.
Well, the only thing that probably changed this fight around is if this heat gets to Toney. Again, you see that movement of Toney. He moves that body, gets out of the way of punches very, very well. And he's able to set when he does that and counter with real hard punches.
Hembrick with a straight right hand. Luckily for Hembrick, it was the end of the punch.
It seemed like a glancing blow to me.
Well, it looked like it was a full extension of Toney's shorter arm. Did land, but had it been shorter, it would have finished him. But he's still wobbly here as he took that little left jab.
Big left jab.
Toney sensing the opportunity here, and Hembrick grabbing on.
Again, you can see how Toney can load up because he can walk right through Hembrick. There's a good left hook by Toney.
And Hembrick wisely grabs on to Toney as he started to pour the ammunition on again. Down from the hands of Hembrick.
Good right hand by Toney again. And Hembrick is killing the clock. There's all that amateur experience coming out now.
Former Armed Forces champion, member of the U.S. Olympic team, started boxing when he was 10 years old, so he knows what to do in this circumstance, but he has simply survived the 5th round under the onslaught of Toney.
Can you continue?
Referee Richard Steele asking Hembrick if he can continue.
He did.
Go back into that action, see that punch that sent him down. You can see the full extension of the right hand of Toney. As you point out, was not a tremendous impact blow, but it was enough to send him down.
Hit him right on the point of the chin.
So the second knockdown scored by James Toney. He had Hembrick down in the 2nd. And again in the 5th round. Hembrick wisely hanging on near the closing seconds of the round to get himself into round number 6. Richard Steele, the referee, asked if he could continue. And he affirmed that he could. See how far he can go here in the 6th. He's not off his stool yet, and he's not going to get off. It's all over. Hembrick did not get off his stool to answer the bell for round 6.
Well, Tim, apparently what he said to you in the interview yesterday, he really meant he wanted to finish boxing without having too much damage.
Well, Anthony Hembrick has given up his USBA crown to James Toney, sitting on the stool. And you can see as he came around here, he's holding on to his crotch there as though he may have taken a blow there during the 5th round. I didn't see that occur, but evidently he was simply feeling that he was outclassed here. There was no point in going forward. Let's go back and look at the knockdown. That's the right hand that sent him down, landing on the point of the chin, but had he been a little closer to him, that would have been a knockout blow because it was a clean, unimpeded shot. Just simply caught Hembrick backing up and not with the full impact that Toney would like to have had. Nonetheless, it was enough to discourage the champion Hembrick. He fails to come out for round number 6. Later in the round, Hembrick in a backup mode and a grabbing mode, trying to survive as he was able to do, but that's all he was able to do. Clearly a discouraged boxer between rounds elected to not come out. So for the official announcement of the finish, let's go to our ring announcer, Michael Buffer.
Referee Richard Steele calls a halt to the bout as the now former champion Anthony Hembrick is unable to answer the bell for round number 6. The winner by TKO victory, and now USBA light heavyweight champion, the former 2-time world champion, James Lights Out Toney.